The future of management on the North Slope. There are three things that are outside of the North Slope itself that are, well, no, that's not fair to say. Three things that are changing, that will change what it means to be a good manager on the North Slope. Some of which come from the outside and some of which don't. The first thing that's changing is the demographic makeup of the North Slope. Like the rest of the country, the North Slope is getting more diverse. I've mentioned at various other points, or maybe I haven't, I can't remember the way these up, that the amount of Pacific Islanders and Hawaiians, 9 times as many as you'll find in the rest of the United States on a per capita, as in per 100 basis. Asians, twice as many as you would find in the rest of the United States on average. Right? And obviously, as business continues to develop up here, more people move in, more people move out. There's a changing face to the North Slope. Is it changing fast? Not necessarily, but it's changing. It's getting more diverse. What will that mean? That means that you as a manager are going to have to be comfortable and have to have the skills with which to work with people who come from outside of where you come from. Whether that be, someone like me who comes from Washington State, or whether someone, who grew up there on the North Slope. The ability to work with a wide and diverse group of people is only going to become more and more valuable. This country is changing, and so is the North Slope. It's interesting, some of the trends you're seeing in the country as a whole, you don't necessarily see reflected on the North Slope. I don't think that the percentage of Hispanics, for example, are increasing greatly on the North Slope, but in the country as a whole they are. But, you have other groups that are, the Tongan community, the Hawaiian community, that are getting, the Filipino community, that are getting larger and larger. And more integrated into every business, every organization on the North Slope. So your ability to successfully work with people different from you, that have a different mindset than you, to value everybody as people, not just those who are similar to you, is going to continue to be more and more valuable. The second thing that's changing is there's only going to be, with prices of oil as it is and all of the natural resources, there's only going to be more and more outside companies, like BP, like Shell. They're going to have a larger and larger influence on the North Slope. Resource extraction, whether we like it or not, is here to stay, and it's only probably going to get bigger. So the ability to work with those groups, the ability to manage contracts and manage services provided to those organizations, to be able to interact with them, it's going to be important. We may not necessarily always be happy they're there, but they're there, and we have to be able to deal with that. We have to be able to function in that society. So the ability to deal with that kind of change and to understand that the number of, for example, people who can work in an oil field, to work offshore extracting oils, there's only going to be more and more jobs available in that area. Those people are going to need places to live. Those people are going to eat. Those people are going to do all the things that us humans, everybody else does, and that we need to be ready for that. So having the skills and having the presence of mind to know that that's going to get bigger, and that you have your organization ready for that to become a larger presence on the North Slope, is going to be important. The third thing that's changing is, you're seeing it right now. Technology. It's becoming a bigger and bigger deal. Okay, we're going to, be able to need to use software. We need to be able to use social media, use video conferencing. These are only going to get larger and larger. Ilisavik is pushing more for distance ed to be a bigger part of what it's doing. ASRC is already all the way around the country, and their ability to communicate with people are all over the country is vital. So comfort with technology, comfort with the software, comfort with the hardware. Some people are going to be what's called digital native, that's people who grew up with it, but others are not. And they're going to need to make, in order to be most successful, to be the most successful manager, both in terms of products and information possible, you're going to need to be comfortable with that. Taking a class like this is a big start towards that. but it can't be your only effort in that area. So, these are going to be 3 changes you're going to see, make a bigger and bigger impact on the North Slope, and it's going to change what it means to be a successful manager. You're not just going to be able to, communicate one-on-one with people just like you, in an area you expect to be the exact same as it is 20 years, 30 years, 50 years from now. The ability to adapt to change. One of the big pushes for education is it makes you more adaptable to change, and that's going to be, a bigger. And thankfully, the ability to get an education is only getting easier. One of the great things about distance ed is you can be anywhere and still be learning this class. I can be in Washington like I am right now, getting ready to come back to Alaska tomorrow, but be in Washington videotaping this, and then you're going to watch this whenever it is. I'm videotaping this on August 16th, and it sits there what's called asynchronously, where you don't have to watch it as I'm recording. You're watching it when it's convenient to you, so that you may then consume it at a later date. There's podcasts, there's iTunes U, there is a lot of colleges are starting to put all of their classes online, which means you can't actually get the degree from it, the credit from it, unless you take it from them, but you can still get all the information. So, I encourage you to take advantage of those because, I named 3 changes. We talked about 3 changes in this video that are going to affect the North Slope, but they're not the only changes that are going to affect the North Slope. So, I encourage you to be ready and to be following up on such things, the world changes. As we read in the book, the world was not the exact same world it was when William Henley began as when the book ends. He had to deal with a lot of changes. And, most of those changes were good. Not all of them, but most of those changes were good. And he had a positive impact on a lot of them. So this is one that's a little shorter, and hope you enjoyed it.